Is the Ordeal of Bitter Waters in Numbers 5 a recipe for an abortion? Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and every time I make a video talking about how the Hebrew Bible conceptualizes a fetus as more property than person, I inevitably get a bunch of comments saying, yeah, Numbers 5 gives instructions for how to perform an abortion. And I don't think that's accurate. But there are a lot of scholars that disagree with me. So in Numbers 5, we have this ritual, this ordeal that a man can put his wife through if he suspects her of infidelity, of adultery. And just like the ordeals that men put women through in medieval Christianity if they thought they were witches, it's basically saying we don't have evidence, we're going to leave it to God to show us whether this woman is guilty or innocent. And for this ordeal, the man brings the woman to the temple. They have an offering. They take her to the priest. The priest writes out a curse, scrapes the ink off into some water, throws some dust from the temple floor in the water, mix it up. The woman declares an oath and drinks the water. And then one of two things happens. If she's innocent, then this mixture blesses her, and it says she will conceive. If she's guilty, then there are a couple things that happen. One is that it says her thigh falls, and thigh is frequently a euphemism for genitals. And then it says something happens to her womb, and the verbal root there is tsava. And we're not really sure exactly how to interpret this. In later Hebrew, this is interpreted to mean swell up. But in Arabic, it can mean to grow or swell, but it can also mean to sprout. And the argument has been made that this idea of sprouting aligns conceptually with the notion of discharging. And so maybe it means her womb discharges, in which case that would sound like a spontaneous abortion, a miscarriage. And so the argument is if we interpret tsava that way, then this seems to describe a miscarriage. Now, there are a lot of scholars who accept that argument. I think there are a few reasons for thinking otherwise. One, the alternative is that she will conceive, which means she's not pregnant when she goes through the ordeal. So folks who argue that, well, it must be a pregnancy that aroused the husband's worries in the first place, that's not supported by the text. According to the blessing outcome, she's not pregnant at the moment. The other thing is that this imagery of genitals dropping and a womb becoming disfigured or swelling up, this is imagery associated in another ancient West Asian literature with infertility. So we've got fertility and infertility as the blessing or the curse. And I think that better fits the notion that there is no pregnancy in view here. Additionally, the earliest Jewish literature that is interpreting this text actually has Jewish thought leaders arguing over whether or not a pregnant woman could be subjected to this ordeal. And ultimately, they decide that she could, which suggests that, at least for the earliest interpreters of the text that we can recover, this doesn't seem to indicate to them that there's definitely a pregnancy in view. Now, what it does indicate is that a fetus was not considered disqualifying for this kind of ordeal. They do not treat the fetus as a person and therefore something that should prohibit going through this ordeal, since the fetus would obviously not survive if the woman proves to be guilty. So I think that it is unlikely there is a pregnancy in view here. It is clear that if a pregnancy were in view, it doesn't sound like that would have concerned anyone. And I don't think it's helpful to appeal to this passage in debates about abortion, since the agency of the woman is entirely irrelevant and her fetus is treated as property of the community rather than her own anyway. So I don't think it's very helpful to appeal to it. But the scholarship is quite a bit more split regarding whether or not a pregnancy is in view here, but I personally don't think it is. And the fit for this video has been Get Low by Maimonides Nuts.